Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Richard Allen found guilty of all charges in the Delphi murder case of Abby Williams and Libby German. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. A jury of his peers have found Richard Allen guilty of all charges.
If you look at the scene at the courthouse, this is bizarre. Like, courthouses are public property, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know. Courthouses are public property, but for some reason in Indiana, get off my lawn seems to be the order of the day. Everyone has to stay on the sidewalk. I don't know why, but that's just the rules. I guess they're keeping law and order in this small town of Delphi. Families believe Richard Allen is the man. On the other side, Richard Allen has claimed his innocence. They've pointed the finger at specific people who they were not permitted to point at during the course of the trial. But as we wait for this moment to arrive, the big question is, will this jury come back and say guilty and deliver for the families of Abby and Libby the sense of justice they have waited way too long for?
Guilty on all 4 counts, unanimous by this jury. Defense did ask to have the jury polled. They all affirmed that that was, in fact, their verdict. Guilty of 4 counts of murder, 2 counts of felony murder against Abigail Williams and Liberty German, 2 counts of intentional murder against Abby and Libby. Sentencing will happen on the 20th of December. The judge is setting aside all day. I can tell you, when we got into the courtroom about 10 minutes till 2, it was somber. Very quiet. Nobody was talking. The room was filled with members of law enforcement, Indiana State Police, the Carroll County Sheriff's Department. Abby and Libby's families were already inside the courtroom when the media was allowed in. Bradley Rosie and Jennifer Auger from the defense team were not in the courtroom. Richard Allen was. He was standing at the beginning talking with his defense attorney, Andrew Baldwin. The judge came in just after 2 o'clock and asked where Mr. Baldwin, or rather where Mr. Rosie and Jennifer Auger were, and the judge entered at 2:11, according to my notes, and Andrew Baldwin told the judge that they were waiting for Kathy Allen and members of Richard Allen's family to arrive. The judge said, so despite my directive to be less than 10 minutes away, she said the jury has reached a verdict. When can we expect them? Andrew Baldwin replied they were on their way up. They entered the room at about 2:14. At 2:15, the jury, or rather 2:19, the jury entered. You could not tell from the looks on their faces. They did not make eye contact with Richard Allen or either family members of the victims, Abby and Libby, or Richard Allen's family. They came in, they sat down, they looked weary. And again, the room was absolutely quiet. The judge had admonished the crowd not to have any outbursts, that regardless of what the verdict was going to be, there were going to be people who were going to be unhappy with it. She said you can take your unhappiness outside of the courthouse. Again, this jury finding Richard Allen guilty on all 4 counts of murder that he was facing after about 18 hours of deliberations over 4 days.